So the second category is solving exponential equations level 3. Okay. Solve for x to the nearest 10th. So I don't know why level 3 to me looks a little bit simpler than level 2, but maybe you'll think level 3 is harder. I'm not quite sure. It just, I guess it depends on if you hate word problems or if you love word problems. So to me, this looks simpler than level 2, but whatever. Okay, so for this one, it's pretty similar to before. We still want to get our exponential by itself. So to do that, let's divide by 610. So divide by 610. Those cancel out. Just gonna keep writing over here. We get this fraction. Don't worry about it being a fraction. We're gonna type it into the calculator later. So then our fraction is equal to 0.5 to the power of x over 4. So now that this, our exponential, is by itself, we can do a log of both sides. Log 47 over 610 is equal to log of 0.5 to the power of x over 4. And so when you do a log of an exponential, the exponent gets moved to the front. So x over 4 times log of 0.5. And this will be equal to log of 47 over 610. That part has remained unchanged. Okay, and so from here, we can get the x over 4 by itself by dividing by log of 0.5. I know it's a little bit hard to see. We are dividing both sides. Trying to make it more obvious that we are dividing both sides by log 0.5. I know you can't really see my dividing bar, but we are dividing on both sides. So those cancel out. We get x over 4 on this side. And then on the left side, we get the fraction. Okay. And so from here, we're almost done. Let me give some space. So this is x divided by 4. So how do you get rid of dividing? You do the opposite of dividing, which is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 4, multiply by 4 on both sides. Those cancel out. So then we get 4 log 47 over 610 divided by log 0.5 equals x. So when I multiply 4 by the fraction, I put the 4 on top on the numerator. So it's 4 times log 4 times log 47 over 610 divided by log of 0.5. So this is what I'm going to type onto the calculator. Before I do that, are there any questions? And let's go ahead and enter this into the calculator. Actually, I did not take a picture of that, but that is okay. I think I can remember it. Okay, so 4 log 47 over 610 divided by log 0.5. Did I enter that correctly? I think so. Okay. Oh my gosh, I entered it into the answer box. I want to enter this into the calculator. I hate when I do that. Okay, let's redo that. 4 log 47 over 610 divided by log of 0.5. And that would give us 14.792, and we're going to round it to the nearest tenth, so 14.8. Okay, so 14.8, I'm going to submit answer now. Okay, let's do a few more. So solve for x to the nearest tenth. Very similar, very, very similar. That's so similar. I wish it gave us a slightly different one. Let me see if I can find a different one. Next, okay, here, this one looks different. Solve for x to the nearest tenth. All right, so our goal before we do any of these is well, okay, our first goal is to get log by itself. So earlier in the last type of problem, we would divide by something to get log by itself. In this problem, we're not going to divide to get log by itself. We're not going to divide to get the exponential by itself. We want to subtract 1. So that will cancel out with a +1. And then that way we get our exponential by itself. And then on the other side is just 5.1. So notice it's a slightly different type of problem, but the idea is the same. Our first step is to get our exponential by itself. And in this case, we get the exponential by itself, not by dividing, but this time just by subtracting. So our exponential is by itself, and once your exponential is by itself, you can proceed to write a log of both sides. So we have log of 5.1 is equal to log of 1.085 to the power of 0.01x. So notice we just got our exponential by itself and did a log of both sides. The steps are still the same. The idea is still the same. And now once you get your log of both sides, the idea is still the same. We want our exponent to go in the front. So our exponent is 0.01x. So that goes in the front now, and it's being multiplied to log of 1.085. And that's, of course, equal to log of 5.1. Okay, so from here, we can solve for the x by dividing by log 1.085. 1.085, yes. And then over here, also divide by log of 1.085. And then that way, these cancel out. We are left with 0.01x, and this one is just that fraction. And so since this is 0.01 multiplied to x, we get rid of the 0.01 by dividing by 0.01. So divide by 0.01. And so that way those cancel out. We get it's equal to x. And then on the left side, we get log of 5.1 divided by 0.01 times log of 1.085. And so this is what I will type into the calculator. But before I type it into the calculator, I will give you guys a chance to ask questions or finish writing. And then let me save this picture. And then this time I'll type it into the calculator, not into the other thing. Okay, log 5.1 divided by log, before the log, 0.01 multiplied to log of, 1.085. Okay, so this gives us 1,997.108. We're rounding it to the nearest tenth, so 1,997.1. Okay, so this is our final answer, rounded to the nearest tenth. And we're going to submit. And that's cool. Let's go to another problem. Okay, this one's slightly different, I guess. So do this one, solve for x to the nearest tenth. So in doing these, the goal is still the same. Get your exponential by itself. So in this case, we have to divide by 5,460. Divide by 5,460. Those cancel out. We get our exponential by itself. Okay, so now that your exponential is by itself, we can apply the log of both sides. So I'm just going to write log of that fraction is equal to log of 0.95 to the power of 2x. So we just write a log of both sides. Now, once you have a log of an exponential, the exponent in the exponential gets brought to the front. So 2x times log of 0.95. And then on the left side, nothing changed. So I'm just going to write it again. Okay, so we have that. Now to solve for x, we can divide by log of 0.95, divide by log of 0.95. They cancel out, we get it is equal to 2x. What is equal to 2x? That entire fraction thing. So log of 54 over 5460. I don't know why I wrote 54. This is 540. Okay, let me just double check if I made any more written mistakes. No, I think that's okay. Divided by log of 0.95. Yeah, okay. So that thing is equal to 2x. And so remember, we want x, not 2x. So I'm going to divide this by 2. And that gives us log 540 over 5460 divided by 2 times log of 0.95. And this will be equal to x because the multiply by 2 and the divide by 2 cancel out, and you just get x. And this is what I will type onto our calculator. But before I type that, are there any questions? I'm recording, and then let's save that, and let's go ahead and type it into the calculator. So log of 540 over, over 5460. Okay, all divided by 2 log 0.95. Did I type that correctly? I think so. So we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. It looks like 22.55, so 22.6. Okay, let's find a very specific type of problem, not this type. This one, cool, okay. So for this last example of this category, we are going to still solve for x, and notice that the plus 5 is part of our exponent, so we're not going to subtract 5 here. We still want to get our exponential by itself. That is still our goal. And so to get our exponential by itself, in this case, we will divide by 7,200. So that will give us this fraction. Those cancel out, we get 0.975 to the power of x plus 5. And so now that we have our exponential by itself, we can do a log of both sides. So log of 4600 over 7200 is equal to log of 0.975 to the power of x plus 5. Oops. That's not how you write a plus sign. There we go. Okay, so we got our exponential by itself, and then we took the log of both sides. So now that we take a log of an exponential, the exponent gets placed in the front. And then this is an x plus 5 multiplied to log of 0.975. This side remains unchanged. Okay, and so some of you might be wondering why I wrote parentheses around the x plus 5, and that's because if you think, like, if I don't put the parentheses here, this no longer says x plus 5 multiplied by log 0.975. This says x plus 5 multiplied by that. So I don't want just the 5 to be multiplied. I want the entire exponent, and the entire exponent was x plus 5. So since I want the entire exponent to be multiplied to the log, I have to put the entire exponent in parentheses because it's got two terms in it. It's got the x and the plus 5. So I have to put parentheses around it. Although to be fair, if you are writing this on your scratch paper and you don't put parentheses, but you still get the same answer in the end, because you follow the steps correctly. I will never know if you actually wrote your parentheses or not, but if you want to write it properly, write your parentheses. Okay, so I put parentheses around the x plus 5 so that it stays as a group because that entire thing was the exponent. So now that we did that, let's get our exponent by itself by dividing by log of 0.975. Those cancel out. We get x plus 5, no longer a need for the parentheses because it's not being multiplied by anything anymore. And then the left side is just that giant fraction. Okay. So the fraction is equal to x plus 5. And so in order to get x by itself, this time we don't have to multiply or divide by anything. This time it's an x plus 5. So to get rid of a plus 5, we do the opposite, minus 5. Minus 5. And so what will I be typing into the calculator this time? I will type log of 4600 divided by 7200 divided by log 0.975 minus 5. I will literally type this. That will be equal to x. So I'm going to type this thing, a fraction minus 5, into our calculator. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording and see if you guys have any questions. And let's save the picture and type it into our calculator. Here are all the old stuff. Okay. Log of 4600 divided by 7200 divided by log of 0.975 and then minus 5 at the very end. So I get 12.6960313. We're rounding it to the nearest tenth, so 12.7. Okay, so I'm going to submit this one. And we got it right. Okay, so that was 4 examples from this category. I do believe the rest should be similar enough to these. So if you have questions, let me know. I'm going to end the video here.